Welcome everyone to Epic Encounters. I hope you enjoy this week's message. I'm confident that the message from this series will meet you exactly where you are. Stay tuned for an epic journey.
Version. I want to pick up in Matthew, the 10th chapter. If you can go with me to Matthew, the 10th chapter, the book of Matthew. People kill me when they say Matthews. No, it's singular. It's the book of Matthew. It's not the book of Luke's. It's not the book of John's. Janet is not the book of Mark's. It is the book of Acts. It's not the book of Revelations. It's Revelation, singular. Lord have mercy. So meet me in the book of Matthew, in Matthew's book, Matthias. Meet me in Matthias, in his book. It starts off something like this. Do I have everybody's attention? Are we there together? It goes something like this. Don't be bluffed into silenced by the threats of bullies. There's nothing that they can do to your soul, your core being. Watch this. Danielle, if you're going to be scared of somebody, watch this. Save your fear for God, who holds your entire life, body, and soul in his hands. If you're going to be scared of somebody. But watch this. But even God is saying something different. Watch this. He's saying, what's the price? Saying, this is Jesus talking, y'all. What's the price of a sparrow? Isn't it worth a penny? And God cares what happens to it even more than you do. He pays even greater attention to you, down to the last detail, even numbering the hairs on your head. He knows every gray hair you have in your head. He knows some of y'all, every white hair that you have in your head. And right here, even up on, he knows all the hairs you have under in closed crevices. Amen. Amen. He knows. So don't be intimidated by all this bully talk. You're worth more than 1,000,000 sparrows. From that, I want to talk to you out of that theme of the last verses, of the verse. Don't be intimidated by all this bully talk. You're worth more than 1,000,000 sparrows. Today, I want to talk along these lines. I want to deal with childhood bully. I want to talk about some of our childhood bullies. Now, if we're going to live fearless in 2020, we have to be on one accord with this thought right there, right here. We have to be in unison with this theme. We have to be ready and prepared to deal and confront with all our bullies. See, I realize that most of us have been harassed and manipulated or bullied by fear. But after today, that can no longer be our handicap. We no longer can live our lives handicapped by all the fear that we have encountered between our two ears, y'all. Y'all got to hear me when I'm saying. When I look at my fears for what they really are, my fears are not a what, but my fears are a who. And so I'm here today. I'm looking according to Matthew, the 10th chapter. I love the way the Message Bible writes it and puts it plain. Your fears are bullies. That's essentially what your fears are. Why would you call them a bully? Well, let's look at how we define what a bully does and what a bully is, Letty. First of all, for some of us that have ever been bullied, we've experienced bullied on this level. Some of us have either been kicked or hit or punched by a bully. We've experienced it on a physical level. Some of us have experienced bullying on a relational level. What do you mean, Cephus? Some of us have been isolated. Some of us have had people gossip about us. Some of us have had people spread rumors about us. They've separated us from relationships and damaged relationships we've had in our lives. Don't you understand? When people go and spread rumors about you, Danielle, when people go and talk about you behind your back, don't we understand and recognize that, yes, that is a form of bullying? We've got to get to a place in 2020 where I'll no longer let people bully me with their speech. You're no longer going to bully me with your post. You're no longer going to bully me with your text messages and conversations. I won't stand for it in 2020. Some of us, when we've grown up, we've experienced bully. Why? Because we got taunted. If you were like me, you were a little bit thicker than everybody else in the class. If you were like some of us, maybe you were a little bit shorter or a little bit taller than everybody else in the class. Maybe your teeth were a little bit more ragged or jagged than everybody else in the class. I understand your mama didn't have a good dental plan. Yeah. And so some of us got harassed and talked about and made fun of and got clowned and got dissed and got talked about because of the way we looked. Maybe some of us had a condition. Maybe some of us had something going on physically. And because of that, folks couldn't help but to talk about you. It don't take much for kids to find a flaw in how you look, y'all. Some of us, maybe we've been harassed. Maybe it was on the job. Maybe it was sexually. Maybe it was racially. Maybe there was some gender bias that you've experienced. But bully comes in all forms. And maybe for some of us, maybe you've experienced bullying in your own house where you've been intimidated. Maybe people in your family, your older siblings, maybe they've intimidated you and told you what you couldn't be and what you couldn't do and what couldn't happen in your life and the type of success you would never have. But all these things fall in line with bullying. And this is the problem, because I see now that when I look at who the bully has been all my life, I can now look back and say that the bully that I've encountered, the bully that most of us have encountered, has been the bully in the form of fear. So I'm sitting here and I understand what fear is. Let's call a spade today. What fear essentially is, fear is the master manipulator. I'm not ready for that, Gabe. Fear, that's what it does. It manipulates you. You know what I like about fear? This is the best way I could describe fear. I remember Bracky and I, within our first year of marriage, we went to Vegas and we got tickets. We were blessed with tickets to go see the Lance Burton show. And I remember Lance Burton in his show, Dave, he made this Corvette fly around the room. It disappeared from the stage, and then the Corvette reappeared in the ceiling. And for years, I thought that was kind of cool until you start to understand, like, that men like David Copperfield, y'all know who David Copperfield is, right? Okay, men like Lance Burton, you've heard of Lance Burton, huh? Okay, let me get to your generation. Men like Chris Angel, y'all heard of Chris Angel? All they are magicians. All magicians are illusionists. And I start to look at my life and I understand that all fear is, all this big bad bully is, this bully that we call fear is just an illusion. It's not real. Most of the stuff, Danielle, that I'm scared about, it's an illusion. It's not real. Most of the gossip that I think I heard from other people, it's not real. It's just an illusion. All the stuff that I think that I can't do and that I'm limited by because I say to myself, I don't have enough money or resources, it's not real. It's just an illusion. Don't you understand? You deal with the best magician every day. You deal with the best illusionist every day. And that illusion is none other than Mr. or Mrs. Fear themselves, and that fear is trapped in your mind. I'm praying that in 2020 you will see fear for who they are. It's just a bag of tricks that I need to remove from my mind. So that's what we're dealing with. Adam, you remember when you were younger and there was a monster under the bed? Remember there was a monster I remember the first time I saw Friday the 13th that I couldn't go to sleep because I thought if I closed my eyes, I was going to meet Freddy Krueger in my dreams, you know, because he was the dream master, you know what I'm saying? And that's what happens is that most of us have been trapped We have been trapped looking for the monster under the closet. You're 60 years old and you're still looking for the monster under the closet. You're still 40 years old and you can't rest at night. I'm talking to myself. You can't sleep at night because there's an illusionist of fear. There's a monster under the bed, a monster in the closet that's holding you hostage, y'all, and keeping you up at night. That's what fear is today. Interesting statistic right here. They say the highest age group or generation that experiences bully is the elementary school generation, not the middle schoolers, not the high schoolers, not the collegiate level, not even on the grad level, but they say the most time where bullying happens the most is in ages of 12 and under, y'all. I said, you got to deal with me. And it makes sense that it tells me that most of the bullies, most of the fear that we got introduced to, most of the fear or the bullies that we have encountered happened to us at a young age. I'm 35 years old and I'm still dealing with a bully I met at 6 years old. I'm 52 years old and I'm still dealing with a bully that I met at 7 years old. Most of us in here are dealing with a bully that you met on the way to elementary school. You're still dealing with that bully, which brings me to this explanation, Bilbao, that I've spent the majority of my life being harassed by my childhood bully. Most of the fears that I'm hung up on, most of the nonsense that I've been victimized by, I met in my childhood. And now I'm 55 years old and I can't function right. Why? Because I can still hear my childhood bully going on in the background. So here's the question then, Cephus. I need you to help me out with this, Cephus. Answer this question for me. Why is it that I'm being bullied? What's so significant about my life that I'm being bullied? What's so significant or interesting about my life that a bully had to mess with me at 4 years old? That a bully had to mess with me at 10 years old? Why did I encounter the bully? What did I do wrong in order to meet bullies face to face? What was it about me? And I got an answer for you, because there's a unique trend as to why most of us have encountered bullies. You know why bullies bully people? You want to know? There's two reasons. Y'all ready for it? It's real deep. It's real theological. Can I get deep for a minute real quick? Let me give you two reasons why most of us encounter bullies. You ready? The first reason why most of us encounter bullies is because we make easy targets. Was that the depth y'all was looking for? The reason why you get picked on, Janet, as a kid, you were easy to pick on. There was something to stand out about you. You walked funny. You smelled funny. You talked funny. You looked funny. You acted funny. So for most of us, we got picked on by bullies because we were an easy target. Growing up in Southeast San Diego, it was real easy for people to pick on me. Why did they pick on me? Well, in our neighborhood, in our culture, in our upbringing, the only people named Shaunte were girls. So going to a school, most of them, the only man that they ever met named Shaunte was Shaunte Cephus. That was another thing that I got picked on, because my middle name is interesting. It's spelled out as demon with a D, Demon. Who else his name's their kid Demon with a D? That set my life on a mission, y'all. And then the other part was Cephus. How many Cephuses do you know? I know I'm your only one. I'm probably your favorite Cephus too. So because of that, I got picked on. It wasn't hard for them to find something to pick on. They couldn't pick on my hair, Danielle, because I had good flavor. I had good wavy hair. They couldn't say nothing to me. They couldn't pick on my smile because I had nice, big, fat, dimpled cheeks. They had to pick on low-hanging fruit, so they went for the girl's name. Most of us get picked on by bullies. Why? We're easy targets. Came up in a single-family home. Broken home. Your parents were alcoholics. Your parents weren't there to administer the type of care you needed. You were an easy target. You grew up in a home and essentially you didn't know your family. You were raised by your grandparents. Maybe you were raised by your aunt or your uncle. You were an easy target. So bullies have a unique gift of picking up on easy targets. They understand, watch this is a Cephus word, Bill. They understand who's punkable and who's not. Come on, y'all. You had some failures in your life. And because you had failures, because you failed openly in front of everybody, David, that made you an easy target for bullying. A second reason is a little bit more deep as to why the bully would want to target my life. Why is the bully focused on what I'm doing? Why is the bully putting so much energy and time coming after me? Because the other thing that's easy to point out about bullies is this reason right here. Bullies gang up on people. In other words, there were more bullies than there were you. You were outnumbered. And because of that, because growing up, there were more fears than I had answers. Because I had more fears than I had courage. Because I had more fear than I had the ability to stand up and be confident for myself. It's because of that I was bullied and I had to deal with the childhood bully. I've showed this slide before, and it's interesting. The word fear is phobio. It's where we get the word phobia from. Most of us in the room, our fears, Braikia, our bullies, are directly related to our phobias. And I'm here to encourage some people that in 2020, you got to let go of some things. Because I understand why I've never went anywhere in life, Letty. Because I've been hung up on too many damn fears. Had too many phobias in my life, keeping me bound and confined. And that's why I ain't never got nowhere. Look at some of the phobias. There's phobia of being alone. There's phobia of intimacy. There's a phobia for abandonment. We have phobias for commitment. There's phobias for people that fear women. There's phobias for people that fear men. There's phobias called, I like this one, philophobia, for people that actually have a fear of love. No wonder with so many phobias in the world. No wonder that so many phobias got passed down to me while I've lived my life so bound and so handcuffed by fear. So now I've gotten to the place because I understand, David Montgomery, that most of these phobias I encountered, I met in my childhood. You don't understand why you don't like men. You don't understand why you don't like women. You don't understand why you don't like commitment. You don't understand why you have a problem or fear of abandonment. I bet if we look at your childhood, we'll find the bully that directly links to whatever fear you're having right now, Danielle. And it's because of that. The Lord brings us to this key scripture. Essentially says this, because we need to see this in Matthew, the 10th chapter, verse number 28. You got to see it. Look, if you sold a few sparrows, how much money would you get? You'd only get a penny. And yet the Father in heaven knows that when those small sparrows fall to the ground, you, beloved, are worth so much more than a whole flock of sparrows. God knows everything about you, even the numbers on your head. So do not fear. Key text, y'all. Do not fear. God understands that even the sparrows need to eat sometime. Even the sparrows are worth taking care of. So God understands that I can take care of you. See, that's the most successful part about bullying, Bill. bullies are successful when they think that bullies are successful when they have the person isolated, feeling like they're suffering in silence. You feel like nobody knows that you're being bullied. Anybody ever been bullied like that where you didn't want to tell your parents who was bullying you? You ever been there before where you didn't want to tell your parents how you were being bullied or abused? You didn't want to tell anybody what was going on. And because I didn't do that, the bully was gaining victory and gaining ground on my life. Why? Because I continued to suffer in silence. But God lets us know in Matthew the 10th chapter, he says, I care about the sparrow that falls on the ground. A sparrow that is only two of them are worth 1 penny. Why are you bringing that up? Because I want to let you know, even something that doesn't have any value, even something that's cheap, even something that has nothing to it, I'm here to let you know I still care about it. I still care about that sparrow. So if I can love something or love someone that has no value and I still can provide for them, how much more can he provide for us? Interesting about a sparrow. Sparrow was a cheap bird that you could actually buy 2 of them for 1 penny. See, sparrows were poor people's food. Well, what are you talking about, Cephus? See, with sparrows were cheap meat. Or a cheap way to eat, y'all. A sparrow, we would equate that to the meat that you buy on sale at grocery outlet. That's what a sparrow was in the first century. And because of that, you have to understand, because a sparrow had no value, most of the people would give them away. You would sometimes get 2 for 1 penny, maybe 3 for 1 penny, maybe 4 for 1 penny, even something with low value. God still says, I take care of things that you devalue. So if I take care of things that you devalue, how much more can I take care of you, and you're valuable to me? Another thing about sparrows, this is what's interesting, is that sparrows were used with leprosy. When you had leprosy, you were essentially bullied and ostracized and by the community because you were considered unclean. And because you were bullied and ostracized and considered unclean by the community, you had to isolate yourself away from the community. And when you had to isolate yourself away from the community, the only way that you could come back in was to take 2 sparrows. The first sparrow, what you would do is you would take it and you would kill it, y'all. Come on, I need you to see me. And with the blood from the sparrow that you just killed that was spilt on the ground, you would take the live sparrow, the living sparrow, and you would dip it in the blood of the one that you just killed, and you would set it free. It was a ceremonial cleansing to say that I no longer have to be bound. I no longer have to be suffering because of disease, but I'm cleansed now, y'all. I'm cleansed. That's where we get the term from, nip it in the bud, or as I would like to say, nip it in the blood. Can I tell you what some of us need to do when it comes to our bullies? We've got to take our fear and nip it in the blood of Jesus this year. I no longer can be hung up on the same fears that have caused me to be confused since I was 4. I no longer can be hung up on the same fears, phobias, and bullies that cost me 2 marriages already. I no longer can be handcuffed or bullied to bullies that have cost me 3 jobs or cost me a 6-figure income. But I got to let go of my phobias if I want to experience fearlessness in 2020. I got to dip my phobias in the blood, y'all. I got to understand and recognize that Jesus freed me from all fear. He freed me from all phobias. He freed me from all bullies. I can't go back to living my life looking around corners, peeking and looking for the monster under the bed or the monster hidden in the closet, y'all. I can't live my life running home to get home, looking over my shoulders to make sure the after school bully is not on my tail, waiting to take my lunch money again. I've got to dip my fears in the blood. Cannot live my life in 2020 held hostage by childhood bullies. I'm done. But what I want to encourage us to do is in 2020, I want us to take a look at all the fears and the phobias that we have and confront them. You know how you deal with a fear. You gentlemen know how do you deal with bullies. You find a bully, you walk up to it, and you sock it right on the nose. And 9 times out of 10, you won't ever have to face the same bully again. You know what I've learned? People only get bullied because you allow yourself to get bullied. People only succumb to fear because you allow yourself to stay frightened. But when you confront the phobia, bring my phobias back up, Ethan. When you confront some of your phobias, you know what gets me mad, Stephanie, is when I hear people say, I don't get a vacation, I can't go nowhere, and plane tickets are at an all-time low. You can get round-trip plane tickets, y'all spirit, for $75, and you still talking about you can't go nowhere. No, let's tell it what it is. You need to confront your arachnophobia or your fear of flying, whatever phobia that is, your fear of heights. Punch your bully in the nose. Well, I just can't get sick, so you walk around here and act like you can't shake the brethren and the sisteren's hands because you scared of getting sick. Come on over here and give me a big hug, girl. Stop playing. Greet the brethren. Greet the family of God. You've got to get over your bully. You've got to acknowledge your phobia and say, 2020, you won't make me miss out on any more opportunities because I'm scared to do life because I'm bound by phobias. My childhood bully. Stand to your feet. So, Danielle, what are you scared of? Living in sunny Southern California, but you scared to go to the beach because you got what they call aquaphobia. You're scared of water. They got a phobia up here, Brikea. There it is. It's called acnavanomophobia. I can't pronounce it. It's the fear of success. Could this be the reason why some of us have been sabotaging what God has been doing in our life? Because you're scared about being the first one in the family to be successful. You're scared about being the first one to actually accomplish something. And because of it, you're scared of your own success. Well, I don't want people to look at me differently. I don't want people to think that I'm bad. That ain't your problem in 2020. When God wants you to succeed, if anybody has a problem with our success in 2020, you tell them, look, I think you should take that up with God. Maybe you've rushed into some things too fast. Most of us are on marriage number 3, 4, 5, and 6 because we got, what do they call prophet? They call it fear of, there it is, the phobia of the fear of being alone. And because you don't want to be alone, you'll be literally with anybody. And anybody has cost you a couple points on your credit score. But some of us watching, maybe that anybody that you hooked up with because you didn't want to be alone from fear of being alone is now the reason why you're suffering with a sexually transmitted disease. Maybe because you have a fear of being alone and a fear of abandonment. You rushed into some relationships too fast. And emotionally, you've now become damaged goods. I'm telling you, we've got to confront our childhood bullies in 2020. Hit it right on the nose, y'all. Hit it right between the eyes. Now, some of y'all might have to hit and run, but just hit it anyway. Don't stay around to see whether or not you got it. Just hit and run. Fire what I call a warning shot. Let them know you won't be picking on me anymore. I'm helping you because it's been 30 years dealing with the same childhood bully. 15 years dealing with the same phobia. And I'm telling you, you'll never experience the life that God intends for you as long as you keep being bullied. Right here, I want you to come here. I want you to pray for some people. God wants to free us up from some fears. Come on up here, Danielle. Erlene, I want you to come on up here and I want you to pray for Star. Now, I'm calling you up here. Why? Come on up here, Janet. I want you to pray for Stephanie. I just feel led to do this. And as you come to the person that's about to pray with you, I need you to be transparent right now. And it's time to get rid of some childhood bullies right now. Come on over here, Erlene and Star. Come on over here. With the person that you're about to pray with, I want you to confess with them. This is you hitting them right on the nose. This is you hitting your childhood bully right on the nose. I want you to confess to that person, Stephanie, and tell them what you're most scared about. Tell her, Star, your worst fear. Tell them what it is that keeps replaying over and over and over in your mind. You've been dealing with that same fear since you were 7. You've been dealing with the same fear since you were 10. I need you to hit the bully in the nose right now. Share with them the same fear that you're dealing with right now. And for those that have been asked to pray, you're going to pray that bully off this person. You're going to pray fear. I need Dave Montgomery, I need you to go pray with Letty. Tell them what you're scared of. Be honest. I'm scared that I'm going to die lonely. I'm scared that I'm going to have to live the rest of my life looking and feeling like this. I'm scared that I don't have enough time to get some things right. I'm scared that I don't have change. I'm scared right now. Open your mouth. Tell them what you're scared about. Tell them what you're scared about. This is a safe place. You can trust them with your fear. Why? Because we got phobias too. We got phobias too. Come on, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. For our online community, we thank you for tuning in. Bless you. And as you can see below, there's a link down there showing you how you can be a part of this ministry and what you can do in order to be a blessing. But also, we want to share with you our information so that you can come by here, receive the word that God has for you. Bless you. Bless you in Jesus' name.
Hello. We want to thank you for watching this segment. We would like to hear more from you. Please follow us and connect with us via social media outlets. We want to offer you an opportunity to partner with us. We can do more together. Below is the information on how you can be part of bringing this message from our community to yours. And before you leave, take our motto with you: more compassion, fewer complaints.